The Paris Air Show has always been more than just an expo. It's the world's most prestigious aviation event, often called the Olympics of Aerospace. Every 2 years, nations gather at Le Bourget Airport to show off the best they've got: fighter jets, jumbo planes, new tech, and multi-billion-dollar deals. For aircraft makers, this is the biggest stage, and the world is watching. But this year felt different. As the 55th edition opened on June 16th, the mood was far from celebratory. Just days earlier, tragedy struck. A Boeing 787 Dreamliner, operated by an Indian airline, crashed shortly after takeoff. It was the first fatal accident for that aircraft series. And honestly, the timing couldn't have been worse. Boeing's CEO canceled his trip. Briefings were cut. The usual buzz around their displays went quiet. At the same time, tensions flared across the Middle East, adding a layer of geopolitical uncertainty. Meanwhile, ongoing trade disputes involving the United States cast a shadow over cross-border collaborations. The air show, once a celebration of human flight, now felt like a battleground of strategy, recovery, and reinvention. Against this uneasy backdrop, one big question hung over the runway. In a world full of disruption, who will lead the skies of tomorrow? For decades, the global aircraft industry has been a two-horse race: Boeing versus Airbus. Every air show, every deal, every headline, it's always been about which of the two giants pulled ahead. But this year, a third name suddenly entered the conversation, and not quietly. COMAC, short for the Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China, made a move that caught the entire industry off guard. During just the first 3 days of the Paris Air Show, 3 major Chinese airlines, China Eastern, Air China, and China Southern, placed orders for 100 C919 aircraft. That's not just a big number. That's the kind of volume that shakes boardrooms in Seattle and Toulouse. The C919 is COMAC's answer to the Boeing 737 and Airbus A320, a narrow-body jet designed for short to medium-haul routes. But until now, it had been seen mostly as a domestic project, not something ready to challenge the duopoly on the world stage. This year changed that. COMAC didn't just show up. They dominated headlines, stood shoulder to shoulder with the biggest names in aviation, and left with a book of orders that most legacy manufacturers would envy. It was the moment many in the industry realized this isn't just Boeing versus Airbus anymore. For the first time in decades, we're witnessing the start of a tripolar era in commercial aviation. And, well, China wants a seat at the table. If the C919 was COMAC's first punch, the C929 was their bold statement of ambition. Unveiled at the Paris Air Show, the C929 is COMAC's upcoming wide-body long-haul aircraft, the kind designed to fly passengers across continents, not just countries. It's meant to compete with giants like the Boeing 787 Dreamliner and the Airbus A350. And while it's still under development, the aircraft was front and center at COMAC's booth, drawing constant crowds and, plenty of camera flashes. What made the industry really sit up, though, wasn't just the sleek design or the full-scale mock-ups. It was the buzz behind the scenes. Reports that the C929 is nearing flight testing, with COMAC aiming for certification by 2032 and commercial service by 2035. That's a long runway, sure. But for a country that only recently joined the large jet game, it's a serious timeline, and a serious challenge to the West's dominance in long-haul travel. Even executives from Airbus and Boeing were spotted inspecting the C929 display, a quiet but powerful signal that COMAC's progress is being taken seriously at the highest levels. If COMAC pulls this off, it could reshape one of the most profitable and tightly guarded markets in aviation. Because while short-haul jets make up most flights, it's the long-haul planes that carry the big money. International business travelers, intercontinental cargo, and, honestly, national prestige. The question now isn't whether COMAC can build a jet. It's whether it can build one that flies safely, efficiently, and profitably at the scale the world demands. Building a jet is hard. Building a trusted jet is even harder. And that's where COMAC is playing smart. Instead of trying to make everything themselves, COMAC is forming key alliances with established global aerospace suppliers. At the Paris Air Show, they announced multiple deals that raised eyebrows and credibility. First, they signed memorandums of understanding with France's Safran Group, one of the world's most respected aerospace suppliers. The agreements cover crucial systems, braking controls, anti-icing detection, tire pressure monitoring, and crew oxygen systems, all critical for safety and reliability. Next, COMAC partnered with Crane Aerospace, a US-based firm known for its expertise in systems like door monitoring, ensuring that aircraft doors remain safely sealed under high-pressure conditions. These aren't just parts deals, they're signals of trust. When respected Western firms agree to work on your planes, it tells the world, this program is serious. We believe in it. In effect, COMAC is building planes that are made in China, but powered by partnerships from around the world. That's a smart strategy, one that mirrors how Airbus grew in its early days, combining European design with international supply chains. It also helps reduce risk. By sourcing proven technologies, COMAC doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. It can focus on integrating, assembling, and delivering aircraft that meet global standards. Step by step, deal by deal, China isn't just building jets, it's building credibility. There's an old saying in aviation: you can buy a plane, but you have to build your own engine. Jet engines are one of the most complex machines humans have ever created. They spin at tens of thousands of RPM, operate at temperatures hotter than lava, and have to do it all flawlessly for thousands of hours. That's why, for decades, only a few countries, like the United States, Britain, and France, have truly mastered them. Now, China wants in. At the Paris Air Show, COMAC announced that the upcoming C929 will likely be powered by a homegrown engine, the CV2000, a high-bypass turbofan designed for long-haul, dual-aisle aircraft. This isn't just a technical milestone, it's a national statement. If successful, the CV2000 would be China's first large jet engine, capable of competing with powerhouses like General Electric's GNX or Rolls-Royce's Trent 1000. What's at stake? Fuel efficiency, for one. The CV2000 is being designed to outperform international benchmarks, a big deal for airlines that spend one-third of their budgets on fuel. But even more than that, it's about independence. Today, COMAC still relies on Western-made engines for the C919. But with the CV2000, China is aiming to own the entire aircraft platform, from nose to tail, including what's under the wings. This path isn't without risks. Russia tried something similar with the PD-14 for its MC-21 jet, and progress has been slow. But if China pulls it off, it would be a historic leap, turning the C929 into the first truly indigenous wide-body aircraft China has ever fielded. And that's honestly a game-changer. Aviation isn't just about prototypes and press releases. It's about performance in the real world. And that's exactly where COMAC's C919 is starting to make its mark. Since entering service with China Eastern Airlines, the C919 has flown more than 11,400 commercial flights and logged over 28,000 hours of safe operation as of late May 2025. That's not just impressive, it's reassuring. Over 1.57 million passengers have already flown on the C919, and here's the kicker. Its daily utilization rate, the number of flights it handles per day, continues to improve. That means airlines trust it, crews rely on it, and passengers are getting where they need to go. These numbers matter. They prove that the C919 isn't a political showpiece or a tech demo. It's a working aircraft doing exactly what Boeing 737s and Airbus A320s do every day. And that performance is translating into confidence. At the Paris Air Show, Chinese carriers doubled down. China Eastern, China Southern, and Air China collectively placed nearly 100 new orders for the C919, signaling that the jet isn't just reliable, it's economically viable. In short, COMAC didn't just show up in Paris with big talk. They came with data, deliveries, and demand, the three things that matter most in aviation. While COMAC was climbing, Boeing was battling gravity. Not just literally, but reputationally. Just days before the Paris Air Show opened, tragedy struck. A Boeing 787 Dreamliner, operated by an Indian airline, crashed shortly after takeoff, marking the first fatal accident involving the Dreamliner series. The timing couldn't have been worse. In response, Boeing's CEO canceled his appearance. Several scheduled press briefings were either postponed or quietly dropped. For a company that usually takes center stage with flashy flight demos and major deals, Boeing's presence this year felt eerily quiet. Even more telling, Boeing brought only one aircraft, a 777-300ER parked on static display. No 737 MAX, no 787, no 777X, nothing flying, nothing new. Meanwhile, the company's order book stayed mostly closed. While Airbus was signing blockbuster deals almost hourly, from Elot's 40 A220s to Vietjet's massive A321 order, Boeing barely made headlines. Worse still, its stock plunged 9% in a single day as news of the crash spread. This isn't just about one incident. Boeing has been reeling from a string of high-profile setbacks. A door panel flew off mid-flight from a 737 MAX earlier this year. The FAA imposed strict production limits. Airlines and investors are beginning to question reliability, not just of aircraft, but of Boeing's entire quality control process. Compared to COMAC's rise and Airbus's momentum, Boeing's performance in Paris felt like a company on the defensive, trying to steady the plane while others are soaring. For decades, the world of commercial aviation was ruled by two names, Boeing and Airbus. They built the planes, set the standards, and divided up the global skies. But after this year's Paris Air Show, it's clear that era is ending. With COMAC's breakout performance, from its massive C919 orders to the unveiling of the ambitious C929, China has firmly entered the global conversation. And they're not just competing. They're building momentum, forming global partnerships, and setting long-term goals that could redraw the aviation map. Meanwhile, Airbus is charging ahead, winning deals across continents, showcasing fuel-efficient models like the A350 and the increasingly popular A220. They're not just maintaining dominance, they're expanding it. And Boeing, for now, finds itself in a period of reflection. Between technical issues, crashes, and shaken investor confidence, the company must prove it can still lead, not just in innovation, but in trust. What we're seeing isn't just a shift in headlines, it's a shift in power. The skies are no longer the exclusive playground of two players. We're now entering a tripolar era, with the US, Europe, and China all vying for altitude in the most high-stakes industry on Earth. Who will own the future of flight? We don't know yet, but what's certain is the race is back on, and the whole world is watching. If you found this breakdown insightful, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll keep covering every turn in the global aviation race, from new tech to new players. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.